What's up, good people? How are you doing? Good to see you. Whoa. Hairdos. All right. Let's see. Pretty much in the last week to turn savings into silver. It's almost drained, and all these missiles going off is not helping. Okay. All right. Thanks, Malcolm. What's up, people? How you doing? We're live on Substack. And Poppy's on Substack. Victory's on Substack. We're live on Odyssey. Somebody's over on Odyssey. I just don't know who, but eventually they'll make themselves known. Yeah, I don't know. Let's check in on the silver price today, just for the heck of it. $80. $80. It was up to 90, right? Yesterday, day before. I don't know. Is the bottom 60 or 70, or is the bottom 40 or 50? That's what I want to know. It got all the way down to 64, it looks like. But I don't know. The way the chart looks, it could go either way. And there's a likelihood it could go down more. And I'm sure the powers that be want it to go down more. They want it to go down a lot more. But do with that what you will. Crypto also has been in a funk. If you care about crypto, maybe not. I feel like a lot of people have divested from crypto. Let's see. Long-term Bitcoin average has been, on the steady decline for 5 months. And it could go lower too. Some people are saying 50 grand Bitcoin. Some people are saying $2 Bitcoin. So there you go. Sold your silver at $16. Yes, I did that too. I actually sold some silver at $60, which was okay, but I'm kicking myself roundly in the behind for that. But whatever. I'm gonna get some more. I'm gonna say if they're gonna push it down more, I'm gonna wait till they push it down more and then strike with my hot irons. How y'all doing? How's everybody feeling? Nice and low, yeah. Still fighting paper market manipulation. The chart will collapse once stocks run out. You would only use Bitcoin as a way to escape my nation with my cash if I could not take metals. Yeah, as a transfer of wealth, it's not bad. You can even go USDT for right now. Stable coins. If you want to push stable coins around, I don't know if either one is more private than the other. But stable coins won't lose any value day to day, right? So you could buy Bitcoin and it could drop 10 grand tomorrow or go up 10 grand. You never know. But you could buy some stable coin and it'll be 10 grand today and it'll be 10 grand tomorrow, at least for the foreseeable future. That's probably what I would do. I wouldn't even want to transfer money across Bitcoin or anything else because I once was a crypto bull and now I am about as skeptical as anybody else can be. And I don't trust any crypto beyond maybe a couple of maybe a couple of minutes in a trade. Maybe a couple of hours, maybe a day in a trade, I might trust it. But other than that, I'm not really with it. All right, people filing in. I mean, what has changed other than that things have gotten crazier, wilder, weirder? Extra Bull is in the house. While we were busy bombing Iran, we also sent some troops into Ecuador. Of all the places that we want to secure, I really do think yes, Donald Trump is an idiot, or he is a very useful. He's a very useful garden tool for someone else, Israel or someone else. Who knows? He keeps showing signs that he's unhappy in his role as court stooge. That maybe he has a lot less control than anybody thinks he does. Trump really is warping, like he is a monster, knows it's king of the hill on a dying planet. Yeah, he keeps saying things like, I'm not going to make it to heaven. He keeps looking like, oh. It was suggested when Biden was in office that it was a humiliation campaign for him. He shouldn't have been out there. He shouldn't have been in the public eye. He should have been in a rest home. He should have been enjoying his sunset years. But he was forced to take the national stage and trip over his own, feet and his own words for 4 fucking long years until he just couldn't really perform anything anymore. And he really did look like he was struggling to make it through anything. Um, and the same is true of Trump, I'm sure. Uh, anyways, we done went into Ecuador too for you know for the reason given being that we were fighting narco drug trafficking, but the president of the country is a well-known drug trafficker, right? Which is par for the course. It it was said that we were behind the assassination of El Mencho, but we are, we like drug trafficking. We support drug trafficking. We are in bed with the drug traffickers. We are part of the cartels. We work hand in glove with the cartels. Um, Trump recently exonerated or set free the former Honduran president who was convicted of drug trafficking. I would suspect that maybe El Mencho was feeling a little big for his britches and didn't know who the boss was. um, so we went into Ecuador, as a little, it's just a side dish, I guess, to the main course of bombing Iran. Well, Daniel Noboa's Ecuador, without citing a single cause, has just expelled the Cuban embassy and declared all of its diplomatic personnel as persona non grata. That's interesting. U.S. military launches operation in Ecuador to combat drug trafficking. Hardy har. That is, if you believe that, would you believe you can't imagine doing a line of coke? I can, Timothy. I can. It's been many years. I definitely wouldn't want to do one now. No need or desire. U.S. Southern Command said joint mission with Ecuador involves decisive action against illicit drug trafficking. Right, right, right. Daniel Noboa, Ecuador's president and close ally, you say, of Donald Trump. You think somebody was cutting in on his action? That's what I think. Um, hold on one second here. Hold on one second here. Yeah. Here's Max Blumenthal. Marco Rubio is in Ecuador to tout President Daniel Noboa as Washington's top partner in the war on drugs. This is from 2025. From 2025. Noboa and companies owned by his oligarch family are directly linked to the drug trade, as opposition candidate Luisa Gonzalez illustrated in this brutal debate takedown. After several months, European authorities find several tons of cocaine packed in Bonita banana containers shipped from Ecuador. Daniel Noboa has served as shipping director of Noboa Corporation, and as Gonzalez pointed out, his political career has been financed with drug money. Noboa appears to have stolen the last election with the support of Trump Rubio, who rushed to recognize him as the winner despite clear irregularities in the vote. Under his watch, 70% of all of the world's cocaine now passes through Ecuadorian ports. So what are they really there for? What's really going on? What's really going on? I wonder. Um, one can only guess, but somebody pointed to this being a clue to why the military is there. Could it be oil? Ecuador has oil as well. Malcolm says copper and silver, some lithium, but mainly China is balls deep there. Yeah. They also have oil. One of the leading theories of why they went in to get Maduro and take control of Venezuelan oil is that the Iran strikes were imminent and they knew that they were going to close the Strait of Hormuz. So having access to lots and lots of oil in our own hemisphere would lessen the shock of the war in the Middle East and all those refineries and oil tankers getting blown up and straits being shut down, et cetera, right? In the last 2 years, Ecuador became the first country in the world to halt oil drilling through direct climate democracy. The people voted to protect nature and keep oil companies out. On August 20th, 2023, in a historic referendum held during the first round of the presidential elections, Ecuadorian citizens massively voted in favor of keeping over 726 million barrels of oil underground in the Usuni National Park, deep in the northern Amazon rainforest, one of the most biodiverse regions on the planet, and home to two of the world's last indigenous communities living in voluntary isolation. You'll wish you've been living in voluntary isolation, I believe, pretty soon. At a time when the climate crisis intensifies around the world and the Amazon rainforest fast approaches an irreversible tipping point, the referendum sets a global precedent for the democratization of climate politics. Nearly 60% of the population voted to halt oil drilling, making Ecuador become the first country in the world to determine the limits of resource extraction through a referendum. Interesting. So is this the reason we're there? To protect some resources? USA technically has all the oil now? Well, sure, in a manner of sorts. But yeah, I obviously the idea that they're there to fight drug trafficking is, laughable. Same excuse they used around Maduro, but really they were looking for confiscating resources, basically. We had to go give them some democracy. Let's see. I'm seeing a lot of excuse me. I'm seeing a lot of people posting about that we're extracting Venezuelan gold as well. I don't know totally about this, but RT is reporting on it, so I don't know. I guess that's U.S. brokers massive Venezuelan gold deal. 1,000 kilograms of Venezuelan gold is being shipped to the U.S. Axios reporting on this as well. So I guess this, confirming is somewhat more legitimate. Malcolm says, pretty sure it's the silver. So yeah, apparently they're taking out the gold too, and the oil, and paying, whatever corrupt politicians there to look the other way. I'm sure there are plenty of people with their hands out. Sure, that's fine. You can take whatever we have. It's just, $1 million, you say? Direct, wired directly to my bank account? Okay, sounds good. uh, so that's going on. That's going on. This is a really great video here on. It's costing us a lot of money to fire all these missiles. Yep. And people keep getting less, and they keep sending more missiles and more money to people that are not American citizens, to benefit the people that make these things. Has anybody seen the movie Lord of War? It's a pretty great Nicolas Cage movie. And it follows the rise of a young, hungry gun runner through his escapades and whatnot. And at the end of the movie, just to completely spoil it for you, he's captured, and he says they're going to let me free because at the end of the day, the largest arms dealer in the world is the United States, is the president of the United States, and they need me, little guys like me, doing it undercover, being renegades and whatnot, to do their dirty work. And it was totally right on the money. Lord of War is a great movie. Yeah. Anyways, we're spending all of the money that we don't have, all the money that we can print on this war, and we're still arguing that we cannot give people health care or a living wage or homes or veterans health care, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's too expensive. There's too much. There's corruption. There's whatever excuse they want to drum up. There was a refinery in Bahrain that was hit. I'm seeing also other reports that Iran is not necessarily behind all of these attacks on local Middle Eastern oil refineries, that it might be Israel. And color me shocked. Anyways, several large fires currently burning at the primary refinery for the Bahrain Petroleum Company, following a short-range ballistic missile attack against the facility and other nearby infrastructure by Iran. Oil is currently up a couple bucks, says Chris Martinson, which is not nearly enough. The Bapco refinery handled 405,000 barrels per day. 2 missiles struck it. It is offline indefinitely. The other thing is about what it's costing for us to fire every missile in air defense. Oh, really? Yeah, all of the missiles that we fire or supply to Israel are extremely expensive, and Iran is producing drones and other missiles for a lot less money, so it's costing them less to fight this war, and it's draining us of money very quickly. And I'm sure that Iran has Soviet supplied missiles as well. Supposedly they have the, what are they called, hypersonic missiles. They got 2 Mossad agents. What did they do with them? Or they just slap them on the wrist? Here is Thomas Massey talking about are they having the war powers vote today, or I think they debated it yesterday. The U.S. Senate voted down a war powers resolution aimed at limiting President Donald Trump's military actions in Iran. So there you go. The House of Representatives is expected to vote on a similar resolution today. The measure introduced by Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey faces strong opposition from Republican leaders. This marks the 8th failed war powers resolution since June 2025, highlighting ongoing tensions over executive war powers. Well, supposedly it's illegal for the president to just start a war where they're supposed to be approved by Congress, but it's been decades and decades and decades since that was ever honored. Were there war powers or congressional approval for Vietnam, Korea? I think there were for the Iraq invasions that they made a big show about getting everybody aligned. But so many other operations, right, Syria, Ukraine, so many other things just don't require or haven't necessarily required the Congress to be like, okay, sure, sounds good. Let's go to war. USA brought missiles to a war of attrition, and Iran is going for the economy and taking the hits. Well, they're also bombing. Let's stay on subject. We'll talk about war powers here.
In 1789, the Constitution supposes what the history of all governments demonstrates, that the executive branch of power is the most interested in war and most prone to it. It has accordingly, with studied care, vested the question of war in the legislature. The Constitution is clear. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of our Constitution provides Congress initiatory powers of war. Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of our Constitution gives the president operational powers of war to wage that war. Even if this body were to pretend that the 1973 War Powers Resolution supersedes the clear language of the Constitution, the president still has not met the conditions required by that law itself.
Okay, so 1973, it was originally passed or proposed, the War Powers, probably in response to Vietnam, this huge, long, horrible, incredibly destructive, illegal war that we waged in Vietnam, right? I'm sure 1990, wasn't it over in 73 or 74? I don't know.
The 1973 War Powers Resolution states plainly that the president may only introduce U.S. armed forces into hostilities pursuant to 3 conditions. Either 1, declaration of war, 2, specific statutory authorization, or 3, a national emergency created by an attack upon the United States. None of those conditions exist today. Iran has not attacked the United States, Congress has not declared war, and Congress has not granted specific statutory authorization. Beyond the constitutional question, here lies an even more important one. Why are we going to war with Iran? We owe our military service members a clear mission. And American families in my district want to know how this is going to help them pay for groceries. How does this make them any safer in their schools or in their neighborhoods. How does this help them pay for housing? Have we learned nothing from the laundry list of wars and regime change experiments we sparked across the Middle East
No,
that have
we have
racked up a
not.
total?
We've not learned. Guys, don't join the military. Don't encourage your kids to join the military. Don't okay your kids to join the military. This needs to be a new conversation around joining the military, which is absolutely a stupid ass thing to do. And I'm seeing a lot of ex-military talking about how, okay, yeah, there was a point at which you needed money to go to school, or maybe you were hard, your situation was bad and the military was the best way. Yeah, that excuse doesn't fly anymore. Serving your country doesn't fly anymore. You're serving, it's been well known for since before World War II that serving in the military was basically just serving as a henchman to the oil companies and the military industrial complex. So I mean, you don't really have an excuse. You not really, since but and at this point in history, ignorance is not an excuse anymore. So just don't join the military. If you join the military, you're a dumbass. Yeah, just be smarter. Do something different. I won't go on. Yeah, let's make joining the military an absolutely not an okay thing to do for people, right? Just stop okaying it. Stop. Oh, that's great. No, it's not great. No, you're not. No, thank you for your service. Nope. No good. No more, no good. Okay. There is no honor in serving in the military ever, in any of the military branches for this country ever. Sorry. You suck. And that's, sorry if that offends anybody, but that's where I stand. You got to do better. You just got to do better. You just got to do better. You just got to do better. And you just cannot use it. You know how many people I know that were in the military that just hated it and got out and they were just like, oh, that was terrible. And I see history with new eyes. Okay, well, you got to do that before you join the military. Okay, you don't get to do that afterwards anymore. No more. That's it. Then they'll draft us. No, the thing is if they try to draft us, there'll be a major revolt. The reason why they got rid of the draft was because Vietnam was so divisive, almost tore this country in shreds. And they saw that the only way to go forward was to have a voluntary draft. And they don't, the popularity of this thing with Iran is nil. Like most of the country, they say 80%. I'm going to say 90% of the country is absolutely not happy, not going to do this. And if you try to draft kids, there is going to be a massive revolt. They know this. They know. That's why they're not going to do it. They're not going to try to draft people. I would say that would be I would be very surprised if they tried to draft people, because we're not going to make it as a country. If they try to do that, there would be massive revolt. Sorry. I just don't think. Yeah, no, they're not. Extrabola. It's just not. They're not going to go for it. You're going to have mass exodus. You're going to have people just resisting. You're going to have people saying like, nope, sorry. No. Here's Lavrov of Russia saying that Russia will do everything to create an atmosphere that will make U.S. and Israel operation against Iran impossible. That's not encouraged. As far as world peace goes,
our strategic partners, and we will continue to maintain dialogue with these countries, and we'll do our best to, including with other countries of the international community, in the United Nations Security Council, and the United Nations General Assembly. We'll do everything to create an atmosphere. that will make this operation impossible for our.
Okay. Okay. We'll see. Yeah, teenagers thrown in windowless vans, a la Ukraine. Yeah. I just don't know. Yeah, I just don't see how they could actually do that and not have the entire country just be against it. Panic and mass displacement unfold in Beirut's southern suburbs after Israeli defense forces issue an evacuation order with airstrikes expected in the coming hours. This is in Lebanon. I'm sorry if my words about joining the military are harsh, but I've seen a lot of veterans just saying like, well, first of all, I've seen a lot of veterans saying your duty is to uphold the Constitution, and you're not doing that if you're fighting. Their veterans are even saying discouraging people from joining the military. They're saying don't do it, don't go. At this point in time, I think people know enough. I guess you could make exceptions, or you could understand in the past why people might have thought it was a good idea. Even economic reasons, I suppose, are okay, or understandable. But it's just got to end. It's just got to end. Like, supporting this and being okay with this has just got to stop. I'm just, and I think that, former military people, should encourage current military people to, get the fuck out. People don't care until it happens to them. Yep. Yep. There are videos of guys at boot camp saying on camera that their recruiters lied to them about almost everything. No shit. I mean, how many times do you have to hear from people that are like, oh, I didn't know that this was what it was? Come on. Like, how many times do you have to see people that used to be in the military, coming out like, oh, now I understand what it really is? Like, yeah. It's frustrating, man. Yeah, I've seen him bragging about the torpedo kill. Apparently, it was an unarmed boat, but I don't know if that's true or not. The intel on that is but don't believe anything they put out there as intelligence or right. Whatever the administration says is the true story is probably not the true story. So, I had a feeling, let's see. Here's Carolyn Levitt talking about the preemptive strike, which is the language around this is just, come on.
The president had a feeling, again, based on fact,
the president had a feeling based on fact that they were going to strike us. They were never going to strike us. This is just an excuse for aggression, an excuse for offensive moves.
Iran was going to strike the United States, was going to strike our assets in the region, and he made a determination to launch Operation Epic Fury based on all of those reasons. And the president had a...
Yeah, they keep trotting out this idea that, that somehow we're doing the right thing, that we're defending ourselves against somebody retaliating against our aggression, which is the level 1 narcissistic gaslighting, whatever. um they wasted million. Oh yeah, I saw that, Malcolm. I was actually going to bring that up. Yeah, there's I am seeing a lot of people talking about how we're not going to do well, and we pretty much always lose these kinds of wars. And we're going to lose in Iran, and it could very well be the end of our whatever we call the U.S. empire. Yeah, I saw that one. Extra Bulla. Yeah, I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, they did it." I get that Israel is freaked out. This is Adam McKay, because it is an interesting post. I get, and it kind of lines up with what we have been talking about over the last few months, which is the thing that a lot of people don't understand about the consolidation of power and authoritarianism right now is that they are trying to outrun the climate falling apart. They're trying to get things in place before that happens, because it's going to be way harder to control people, because it's going to be hard enough to control even infrastructure or the emergency response to anything. So they want to have like things in place and people kind of like securely locked down before people really lose their shit over the fact that like we destroy the climate and there's probably no coming back. I get that Israel is freaked out because the climate may be right on the verge of collapse, and we are likely entering a period that could destabilize society and look a lot like an end time scenario. But why is their response to kill as many children as possible? They could be praying or pouring energy into carbon removal research and scaling, or just loving their families. But somehow they decided sweet angelic children must be slaughtered constantly and as brutally as possible. Yeah. Timothy says Oregon Crater Lake has 0 snow, should have 21 feet. Yep. I'm sure Mount Shasta right now is like devoid of snow when it should be absolutely covered in it. You suspect population reduction is part of their plan? Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. And not, I mean, sure, you can call having a war direct population reduction, but there's going to be a lot of indirect population reduction, as in famine, homelessness. You just start withdrawing funds from the safety net. You leave people to their own devices with no food, no housing, and people will die. And as things get worse, and as the economy falters, there is a direct correlation between economic collapse or economic downturns and death rates going up. Right. So as resources begin to dwindle, the powerful and the wealthy are want to lock all of that up, want to have that under their own domain, and everybody else fight it out amongst yourselves. And there's going to be a lot of casualties around that. It was already 106 in South Texas last week. Wow. Wow. 106 in February. Wow. Yeah, like I said here, it was close to the 90s several days in February, like a lot of days in February. It was close to the 90s, or I'm going to say it's pretty much in the 90s, because whatever they're telling you the feels like temperature, or whatever they say the temperature is, it's 88, it's 89, but it's hot as F in your car, right? Your car says it's 95. My car said in the 90s several days when I got in the car. Hot, very hot for February. And they were doing a lot of temperature mitigation up in the sky in response to that. I did see another post about, guys, if you like this show, if you want to support the show, if you want to see the show keep on showing, let's see. I like this. If you want to see this show keep going, there are ways to support the show. In the description box of either Odyssey or YouTube, there's all the links are there: Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, etc. If you're a disgruntled ex-military member, especially you can support this show. Hit the like and all that. I think I'm echoing a lot of people's feelings around that. So though I do feel like I'm being fairly harsh, but god damn it. I'm really pissed. It's hard though. I mean, people have to survive. I get it. People have to survive. So I just will say, I will lastly, the last thing I'm going to say about this: when people are desperate, as Extra Bullet suggested, and people are looking for a way out of their situation, I get it. You'll do a lot of things to survive. You'll take money from a lot of, not so great entities, whatever, in order to, move forward or just eat even. So I understand all that. But, we just got to really make better choices. Like, come on, from now on, let's just say from now on. All right. Like the hit button. That's right. I like asshole of distinction on Odyssey. Maybe humans should do better. Thank you, asshole of distinction. Yeah, exactly. Tell me why a digital advertising screen on a wall in Brussels would want to tell me that I should save electricity. I have seen this recently. Organize yourselves and F propaganda. Line up for the meat grinder, kids. We love you. War is stupid. Do not do it. Exactly. War is stupid. Do not do it. Okay. Gene, these clowns apparently don't care how they sound. Apparently it just doesn't matter. We're at the point at which the people in charge only need confirmation of their of their feelings or whatever, or their own intel that they made up, they typed up at 3 a.m. on a computer keyboard somewhere. They only need, like the manufacturing of consent doesn't even really need you. I mean, it never did need you. It doesn't even need the media anymore. They just, right? One person in one part of the government says this thing is true, we should do something about it, and somebody else, and the president goes, yeah, I've heard from, we should do something about this. And just the bubble of manufacture of consent has gotten so small that they just saying, well, I said it, so it's true, and we got to do something about this thing that I just said. It doesn't matter if there's any evidence that any of this is true. There's no even attempt to verify these claims or back them up. It's just, they just don't care. They just don't care. They're just like, we have the power. We're just going to do it. We're going to make shit up and act as if this stuff is true. We don't care. We don't care if it's true. We don't need to verify it. We don't care what people say about it. We don't care how you feel about it. We're just pumping out propaganda 100% of the time now. And that's what we're operating on. And it's complete banana republic. And it's just complete. It's just complete and utter chaos and corruption, and go for what you know, and nobody cares. Here's Jessica Wildfire. The military isn't coming to save us. The National Guard isn't coming to save us. Elections aren't coming to save us. We're going to save ourselves and each other. I've got my plan in place, and I'll be writing about it later. It's not a genius plan. It's not a foolproof plan. It's the best I've got, and it leverages the resources I have. That's the kind of plan you need. I was just talking about this, that, nobody is coming to save us. There's going to be no, Democrats aren't coming to save us. I don't even know if Russia and China is coming to save us. I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't count on it. Save us, Chuck. Yeah, come on, man. Don't you guys have some advanced technology? No one is coming to save us. No one's coming to stop this like machine from going forward. We are the only ones who will, until we decide to go like, nope, how about not today? Until we decide that, it's going to keep going, and it's going to keep getting worse. Sorry, that's just true. That is just absolutely, positively true. Unless there is some cataclysm brought on by a higher power. And there well could be. And it could just be climate change, which isn't brought on by a higher power. It's just brought on by our own hubris. But, unless some kind of, active force majeure or whatever, ain't nobody going to save us but us. The Ayatollah was appointed by God. Trump was appointed by God. The apocalypse is right. This is what millions believe. I know. We've and this is the other thing that they've been stating. You're bringing up a good point, Poppy. This is the other facet to this, is that people in our military are running around saying that this is some kind of divine escapade, that this is, divined by God, we are doing God's will. We are fulfilling some kind of biblical destiny. It is just absolutely insane. Let's get ready to rapture. Indeed. This is absolutely insane. As soon as you bring religion into the idea that you should go out and genocide people or massacre people, and this is historical. I don't know that you really are doing the religion all that much good. But you can always tell the more depraved people get, the more religious they get about it. I'm just calling it like I see it. I'm not. These aren't, yes, these are my thoughts, but I think it's fairly obvious that's what happens, right? Historically, that's what happens. Madmen, who want to, rule the world, always, kind of invoke some kind of zealotry. Generally. Chuck says, I don't have authorization to save you from Nazis. Intergalactic Council considers it a local matter, can't interfere. Solar flares, however, I can sometimes save your keisters. Okay. Their problem with this line of bullshit is that since the advent of the internet, the uptick in people who say they aren't religious anymore has gone parabolic. Like, there's been a huge increase of people who are like, nah, I'm good on the religion. So they're probably fighting that as well, fighting a lot of people. But again, the bubble of manufacturing of consent doesn't need to be big, and so I'm sure all these lunatics don't give two flying fucks about Jesus Christ or anybody. They're just invoking these words to sanctify themselves and their decisions, to make them feel better about themselves, to make them feel as if they have some kind of authority from a higher power. And we've seen how that has gone in the past. I don't think it's going to help them. I don't think the higher power is really interested in what they're doing, if there is one. Wayne says, I can't even get my neighbors to start prepping. They rather buy tobacco, vapes, weed, and watch TV all day. It's very sad. I mean, smoke them if you got them, I guess. If time is short, I guess get your vape on. Live it up. If you want to. I don't know. I don't know if that's any way to live, honestly. Is it hope for the best, prepare for the worst? Something like that? Time might be short, but it also might be very long. You don't know. You don't know which way this is going to go. So, You went to LA and didn't get a t-shirt? Damn it. Bro. Not even a Dodgers cap? Bro. Says Ken of Barbie fame. What the? I don't know what that means. I am lost. Us Christians support the guys that think Mother Mary was a slut. What? Much rather get ready to rap than rapture. But I don't know. It's Muslims versus Christians again. The rematch. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Gotta go closed loop deep adaptation or broke. Apparently, Malcolm. I've heard expect the worst and you won't be disappointed. Okay. 7 out of 8 will die on a 4C world. Prepping just extends life for a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna say 7 out of 8. I'm gonna say 7.8 out of 8. I'm gonna say 7.8 out of 8. We're gonna die on a 4C world because we're supposedly at like, not even 2 or almost 2. Imagine. I mean, I guess there'd be some hardy souls that make it through, but 7 out of 8 means there'll be 1 billion out of the 8 billion that are alive now. I don't even, on a 4C world, I don't even see 1 billion. So I see much less than that. Yeah, okay, well, that about does it for me. I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks, guys. Maybe 1 million, says Poppy. And they're all going to be driving Ford F-150s and have the last of the Kalashnikovs. They're still hanging around. I agree, because they will not go quietly into the night. They will raid and steal from the survivors. Yeah, the estimate is 500 million to 1 billion. All right, guys. Thank you. I didn't do a music stream on Tuesday because just life is like that right now, and I'm not going to do a music stream tomorrow because life is like that right now. Just man, you all, the fact that BBN is going 2 days a week on schedule is actually, if you guys really knew how it was going, you guys would be, amazed that the BBN is happening on schedule and on time every week. And it's going to happen next week on Monday on schedule and on time. So I'm going to see you guys on Monday at noon again, Pacific. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being here, and enjoy your weekend. Again, no music stream tomorrow. Or very, very doubtful. But tomorrow is a Bandcamp Friday. If you want to purchase my music tomorrow on my Bandcamp site, I get 100% of the proceeds, so that's kind of cool. Go ahead and follow me on my other channels where I mostly promote my music, which is Instagram at kevinsandbloom. That's Patreon at kevinsandbloom, the number 1. TikTok at kevinsandbloom. Also YouTube at kevinsandbloom. A lot of videos are there. All my music is on the YouTube. Actually, you can just Google every single thing that I put out on YouTube or on Spotify or on Apple Music or whatever. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Until next time, beware. Bye-bye.